All right.
Tell me when. Okay. Welcome everybody to the Gender and Sexuality Stop LAPD Spying Coalition Gender and Sexuality um, working meeting. We are every what is this? First Tuesday of the month is dedicated to gender and sexuality. So it's how the police, state, and surveillance interact and intersect with gender and sexuality. I am Chella. I've been a member of Stop LAPD Spying Coalition for 9 years now, 8 years now, some shit. I don't know. Um, and yeah, my pronouns are she and they, interchangeably. Um, okay, I see the other co-host here. So welcome, Mariela. Introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Mariela. I'm in the car and I'm a member of Stop LAPD Spying Coalition and part of the Gender and Sexuality Working Group. Not sure if there's any intro question that I missed, but I'm also with Yoali and Janelli. We have to run some errands at this hour, but we're present here and good to see you all. Thank you for joining us.
Well, patience to you being a parent right now, and I'm hearing the kids yell at you. But give them love for me. Yeah, I mean, we could, go around the room and say, how many people are here? Yeah, it's a small group. Folks, just to know who's in the space, your name, your pronoun, what brings you here tonight. So like I just said, my name is Chella, pronouns are she and they, and I'm part of the LAPD Spying Coalition. Anyone else want to go?
I can go. Hi, my name is Hamid. Go by he, him. I'm with the Stop LAPD Spying Coalition and happy to be here. I can pass it on to Mark.
Hi everyone, my name is Mark. Pronouns are he, they, and I'm relatively new to the Stop LAPD Spying Coalition, and I'm excited to learn more. I'm based out of Montebello. Farzana, would you like to go?
Farzana going once. Farzana going twice. And do you want to go? Who C is? C? Yeah. Go ahead, C. See that you unmuted yourself. Can't hear you if you're trying to talk. C going once. Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
now?
we can hear you now.
Hello, everyone. I go by C. I'm part of the Land and Policing Group, part of Stop LAPD Spying Coalition. I've joined in the past. I just wanted to get more involved in different working groups, part of Stop LAPD Spying Coalition. So I decided to join this one today. Yeah, my pronouns are he, they, and I actually haven't joined this, the gender and sexuality group in a while. So I'm just, wanting to look back in and understand what kind of movement y'all are updating and kind of just get an update about what y'all have going on right now. And yeah, I'm just listening, more of a guest as of now. But yeah, thank you everyone for, being part of this group right now. Thank you.
Well, I think that's it. Mariela, Mariela, do you, oh wait, they're driving. So it's not fair for them to hold space right now.
Not driving. I'm in the passenger seat.
Oh, okay. Do you want to take this part?
I just wanted to also add she and they for me, and you asked why we're here, and I could share that as a way of getting us all together. And it's a little loud in the car, so I hope Yoli wants to hear "Let It Go."
Sorry, I just had to laugh at Frozen.
Yeah, Yoli's into the song. But yeah, I want to welcome folks, and it sounds like I know some folks have been here before. Just want to help bring us back to the same page. We decided recently to have every other first Tuesday of the month have our working group meetings, and this is it right here, where we focus in on what we want to do for the next public gender and sexuality committee webinar, which is the following month on the first Tuesday. This meeting is also public as well, but this is more a more intimate space for us to get grounded as a team, for us to think about what internal work we need as a team, as we're always learning and unlearning, and for us to make suggestions and evaluate our webinars too. I thought it would be great if we debrief a bit on the last webinar as a way of refreshing and thinking about what direction to continue on to. So I just want to see if there's any questions about this working group before maybe just reviewing what we did last, evaluate that a bit, and think about our next month's meeting and anything else that we might be feeling or thinking about for this working group. And I wonder if any of you were able to attend the last webinar too. Also, did anyone else come in new who hasn't?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I thought so. I just noticed.
Alicia, we are welcoming you to the space, but you can also you can introduce yourself with your name, your gender pronoun, and what brings you here tonight.
My name is Alicia Roden. My pronoun is she, her. I came because I know there's a lot of injustice that the police officers do. And I want to learn and I want to be able to help.
Awesome. Thank you, Alicia. Good to meet you. Thanks for bringing that energy. I saw Mark Anthony, your comment that you weren't at the last webinar. No worries. For those of us who were, we can refresh on what we did. I recall that we had two guests, Umi Vera and Rumba. And Umi is based in Portland with a group against hate crimes out there. And then Rumba is part of Intransitive, a trans and queer organization in Arkansas. Am I right about the state? No,
Yes.
Arkansas. And we invited them in particular because of one of our coalition members alerted us to laws that were coming down targeting trans youth through the medical system. And I personally haven't done anything about it since we were alerted about it. We held a really great webinar. So that's why I'm happy we have this space to refresh and think about what can we do. This might be a good place to debrief on it and see what were some of the things that came up in that meeting that are in the coalition's hands to do. And yeah, I just want to start there. If anyone else wants to add who was at the webinar, Chela or Mohammed,
I will.
Go for it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think hearing the breakdown of what the law actually is and who sponsors the law, like pretty much the white wingers of like Arkansas, right? And like especially these big corporations. folks who own these big corporations. That was something that like was very educational. I'm actually in touch with Rumba. We've actually been corresponding since then. It's funny because they are a part of my other Facebook, and I was texting with them, but then I added them on my main Facebook, and we've been talking. But yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I haven't been doing a lot since then either. I have shared Rumba's post when I see it. I do want to acknowledge that, like, algorithms on Facebook are cray cray, and they don't always allow for you to see things that you need. But when I do see it, I do share it. And as we saw, and as we know, Arkansas is not the only state that's targeted. It was also like Alabama, right? Like it was both states. I remember I was like, hey, it's both of the states. So like even that, even just like acknowledging that, like in California, I mean, I do want to say there's an illusion, right? Like an illusion of safety when it comes to laws that quote unquote protect the most marginalized, especially trans folks, right? Something that Baba is always continuing to bring into my heart and my mind is that this is number one, the idea of the other is not something new. It is not something that is just, it's fresh, it's newly done, it's something that is a part of a continuation of history, right? And we are always here to push back. So yeah, I think about those things. And as far as what the other Muhed was talking about as well, the Portland, was it Portland? I think Portland or Seattle, one of those two cities.
Portland.
Okay, yeah, and like how they formed. Even hearing about the crime that happened, I was like, wait, I've heard about that crime, and I heard about that, and that's great. Because it gets me to think about the work that like we also need to be doing as a way to, like, if we're talking about defunding the police and if we're talking about abolition of the police and prisons and jails, we also need to talk about real safety and what it really looks like, especially for folks who are on the ground. Just being real, y'all. For folks who don't know me, I live in Skid Row, the highest population of policing in the U.S. What was it in 2014? $48,000 worth. Where that money could have been gone to like fucking cleaning it up and giving people homes, and not these like small ass rooms that they're giving them now because they're in a rush because of the Olympics next year. But I'm sorry, I'm saying a lot. But yeah, like I think in terms of like safety and community, right? And what does it really look like for a Black trans woman, for undocumented queer folks, for trans and queer and femmes? Just being honest, and bringing my whole self to tonight. I lost 3 of my neighbors in the last 10 days. 3 of my neighbors have passed, not through violence. I mean, I do believe that the state had its hand in it because of inadequate healthcare, but that's another conversation for another day. But yeah, and I think that Skid Row it's the base. That's why like Stop LAPD Spine, usually the hub is in Skid Row. We're like, So yeah, I named a mouthful. I think in terms of like continuing this conversation around what can we do for our familia in like different states, building solidarity movements. Something I remember asking Rumba and the other trans who had was like, how can we support? And they said, when you see these things on your Facebook, share it. When you see a person GoFundMe or Venmo thing, share it. And that's what I've been doing. And I've been like, hey y'all, share this, like support this person, support this trans person. support these queer folks, you know, because like often they get overlooked because they're not in a big city, you know. So yeah, I hope I made sense with what I just said.
You sure did. Thank you, Chela. And I'm just thinking, building on what you did and sharing, I wonder if there's something that we could do as a coalition to share some of their materials. But since we have a platform in social media, it might be helpful. I'm sure it'll be helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to like also, I mean, like I was just texting with Rumba 2 nights ago, actually. Real talk. So I could re-ask them if they could resend some like info on what's been going on and update us as well. I think that would be lit. And then I'll share it to our page on Stop LAPD Spying and other things as well.
That'll be great, Chella. Oh, I'm sorry, Maria. I was gonna say I was just gonna say thank you. I was just gonna say if they could also, when you talk to them, ask them that if they just tag us on Twitter or other things, we'll prioritize, like, you know, how do we get their message out and repost it and all of that. So this would so this way directly, then we'll continue to do that.
I'm gonna seem like a bad coalition member right now. When people tag us, do they put Stop LAPD Spying Coalition or just Stop LAPD Spying?
They put at Stop LAPD Spying.
Okay, sorry y'all. Bad.
And the other piece also I was going to suggest, if they're interested, you know, because obviously the monitoring, the tracing and tracking, how the stalker state operates, you know, and this, that we could also share some of those resources, maybe do a community ed, a popular education sort of conversation with them, and then also, you know, if there are other resources, if they are interested, maybe as these laws are being implemented, maybe now or down the line, file some public records and maybe showing some of that sample as to, because that also is helpful in identifying and quite frankly exposing now whether what laws those states have, that we don't know, but we can definitely share some of those resources like samples and things like that. So yeah, I mean, I think just however we can support through whatever information and stuff that we have developed.
Thank you, Hamid. That sounds like a great idea too. I wonder if our folks who weren't there and are listening, if there's any comments or questions and ideas. Did we get more folks while we were talking? I don't know if Akil and Andrew had a chance to introduce themselves. Welcome. Yeah, I'm not sure if you all did. If you didn't get a chance, feel free. This is a good moment. We are just debriefing the last Gender and Sexuality webinar that we held last month, first Tuesday of the month. If you want to introduce yourself, just name and pronouns. Why here is welcome.
Hi everyone, this is Akil, he, him pronouns, part of Stop LAPD Spying Coalition. And yeah, I don't know too much about these laws, but they're horrifying. So yeah, I'm fully down with the coalition supporting with our platform.
Thank you. Andrew, I'm not sure that you had a chance to introduce yourself.
Uh,
All right, if Andrew at any point, we just let us know who's in the room, in the virtual room. Shella, did you, I mean, is there anything else for that? I love the ideas we heard. You know, if that's okay with you, Chela, connecting Marumba and Marie and anything that any materials are welcome to tag us, that we're happy to share. And then the idea around public records requests. We have experience and documented ways of how to support folks with that. Another suggestion, Hamid?
Yeah, I was also gonna ask Akhil, because Akhil and Nadia are co-leading these, the war on youth, and since some of these laws are directly targeting youth, maybe, and then how, in a sense, because behavioral surveillance is central to that, and how they're going to be criminalizing young people. And that's where, the similarities between how preventing violent extremism and some of these programs are run. Obviously, the criminalization process is pretty expansive. So I'm just wondering, it's more a question for Akhil, that, if they feel that there are things through the War on Youth campaign that what we can share and bring and do knowledge exchange with folks who are fighting on the front lines in some of these states. Okay.
Yeah, I wonder if a big crossover will be in the sphere of basically, one thing we're noticing in LA is just a huge focus on mental health when it comes to youth, and surveilling youth under the framework of risk assessments and threat assessments and the school shooter narrative. But I think that even when they implemented CVE in LA and I had suggestions, they were saying the best places to implement the surveillance is through the Department of Mental Health. And I think that one thing that might be sort of this parallel is the sort of idea of marginalization within a marginalized community, and the people within communities that are doubly or triply marginalized that are then sort of like seen as suspicious. And I think queerness and being trans as well, I'm wondering if like there are communities that are targeted as a whole, and then within that they're like pushed to report on or surveil people within their community through these grants. And then basically we already know from experience that this has had especially bad effect on like disabled and mentally ill Muslims, for example. And I'm wondering if it also has especially targeted effects on queer and trans Muslims or queer and trans people within other communities, not just the Muslim community that these programs are targeting. So that's one possible crossover. I don't know strategically what the best way to go forward is, but I'm definitely down to brainstorm or to bring things to Nadia and Salim.
Thank you, Akhil. I think that would be a good conversation to have, like a gender and sexuality and warm youth, like sit down and talk about the overlap of that, right? Yeah. What do you feel, Mariela?
I think that's a great idea. I had also thought about, when we did our webinar, our last webinar, I thought about re-inviting them to the War on Youth space to speak there or to share there. But yeah, I was definitely thinking about the connection and building power together. And an idea occurred to me that I have the opportunity to help organize a trans and queer youth virtual retreat this summer with Familia Transformation Movement. So I'd love to connect, work with us on that too, or make sure there's youth that we've been working with that can be there, that can participate. I'm just thinking about that opportunity in the summer as well.
Can I name one other point of connection that I'm seeing? Is I guess I would describe this as sort of like the rescue narrative, you know, of these cops being there to protect communities that are like facing hate crimes. And I think one thing one thing we're noticing right now within the CVE world is a huge sort of pivot towards CVE as a remedy for white supremacy and violent extremism programs being sort of like pitched or sold to Asian communities that are facing anti-Asian violence and sort of this idea that then the state is and specifically that the anti-Black genocidal police are your remedy against these white supremacists, you know, and therefore we have to fund them more. And I think that, you know, within LA, when we look at, for example, the school districts, you know, what is it called? Office of General Counsel, which is the group that was most like connected to the organizations that were pushing CVE in LA. We know through conversations with an LAUSD person who knows that person. I think their name was Judy Chieson or something. I don't know how to pronounce it, but that's the LAUSD administrator. She is very interested in this specifically as a mechanism to protect queer and trans youth. And sort of the idea of queer and trans kids, therefore, and maybe this might be a particular issue in like a blue city in a blue state where it's different in Arkansas, I have no idea. But them being positioned now as the quote unquote like victims that police are then coming in to protect through these surveillance programs when, you know, they're also targeted by those police in the first place. And I think that that's kind of this relationship that we see in lots of circles right now when CVE is now being pushed as a liberal framework. I mean, it's been since the beginning, but I think that, yeah, we're seeing it as sort of like this reform of CVE so that it now is there to protect you from white supremacy, supposedly. And now it's going to also protect you from homophobia and transphobia, supposedly. But it's not really. Does that make any sense? Sorry, that was kind of confusing, but yeah.
No, I think the state does a good job of like creating a problem and pretending to come in and fix the problem when they're just putting a band-aid and just making themselves out to see the white savior complex, but on a larger scale. We'll call it the American savior complex. Pretty much, right? Like, oh, homophobia and transphobia. We created this shit and we, you know, by what we've been doing all these years, but we're here to save you from it. That's why they gave, literally in the last 20 years, they've given out so much money out to survivors of violence. I know that LAPD specifically had a fund that they would give to victims for survival and moving, and a lot of trans people, I mean, I don't blame them. They took that money, you know, they took that coin. So yeah, I can only imagine how they're doing it for the youth. Did I make sense? Did I just make sense? Did I understand me? I guess not.
Yes. Most definitely.
Lots of thumbs up, Jella.
Any next steps you all want to suggest, Akil and Chella, on this for the, you know, connecting with the war on youth? Anything else we could check in about here?
I think a brainstorming conversation. And then I'm imagining kind of a pop-ed tool of rejecting the police as a savior for our communities or something.
Yeah, I like that. I like that as a pop-it tool.
And like include what else people could do or what else is needed. But yeah, I could see a beautiful coming from this. So, anything else about this? This is great. It's good to hear this. Just wondering if
One of the other things, well, but I'll wait on that till we wrap up this part of the conversation. There's something else that has been, and I think I spoke to Chella about that, but that's been a few months, so I just want to circle back to that conversation.
okay, cool. Shall we? I just want to get some support or think about our next steps to meet with the War on Youth group. Maybe learn about when could that happen? Any suggestions from you, Akil, as you're helping lead that work? Yes, I think that's the only thing to, solidify still. And we could also do this out of the meeting. If we just, all agree that we want to take that direction, we could get organized outside of the meeting around meeting.
That sounds great.
I'm down to like have the conversation with Roomba and like and see what they would when their availability is.
Yeah, did you all like that idea of maybe inviting Roomba or other folks to a webinar in the War on Youth or to the working group? Just wanted to be clear about that. Yeah, I see. Awesome. Well, let's also think about this upcoming webinar. Do folks feel good about moving on to that? And I know we also want to hold space here for trans siblings. Does that feel good in closing, Chella, or I just want to make?
I'm down.
Okay, in closing, so shall we go into next webinar? How do we build on what we just shared out publicly with these laws? What direction do we want to take the next webinar? Maybe Hamid, it sounded like you were bubbling with an idea there. Would you like to share?
Yeah, sure. And Chala, this is something, it's been about 3 or 4 months, but now it's coming to a head. This is where I'm trying to jog my memory too. This is about the recent federal court rulings on Skid Row, and particularly its impact on women who are unhoused in Skid Row, where this federal judge has come back with this order, which would mean that he's ordering for the city to provide shelter for folks in the street. And so what that is going to do is, in the long run, that basically is going to lead to, because he's giving like the 90 days up until, when was the decision? About 2 weeks ago. So 90 days from that to basically remove or provide shelter to folks who identify as male, and then another 60 to 90 days to provide shelter to folks who identify as women and children, which is leading to, there's a lot of concern about that, because and of course the city is not going to provide any shelter. It's just basically, punting and passing the buck. But what that's going to do is that's going to add more violence and enforcement, particularly. So I know that there's this lawsuits that are being filed. So I was going to suggest to see that if at the next webinar, if we would like to maybe just bring in folks who are maybe kind of fighting it, that how would it impact particularly women and children in Skid Row, where there's once again this Band-Aid approach is being offered, but no permanent solution is being offered. Like no permanent housing is being offered. Nothing of that is being offered. So, and I know that there was a survey that was done of several residents of Skid Row, women, femme residents of Skid Row, and I know that LA Can had done that. So that I was just going to propose that if we should invite somebody from there to speak about these, so really people can get more informed as to what's going on.
Yeah, I mean that. What is their name? Pete.
Monique.
Yeah, let's have her. Let's try to see if we can have her next month. I mean, I can reach out to her, of course. I'm just saying.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sure, that'll be great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I also want to say that, like right now, like especially because like you just named, and like I kind of touched on last, like my opening, like there are these little pods that they're building, and they're in Hollywood, but they're like small ass rooms, and you have to like you can't take liquor in your room, and so a lot of homeless folks are going to be forced to like go in those things, and they're like right now they're looking really nice, but like they're going to be looking horrible soon, and it's not. Yeah, it's going to be really horrible and like an infringement on human rights, and so I just want to think about that, and I also want to think about like taking all the men out of the street. Women and femmes will be vulnerable. And so, yeah, I think about those things. But yeah, I think that's a good conversation to have. I see we got a new person who just joined. Do you want to introduce yourself, your name, your pronoun, and what brought you here tonight? Hello? Okay, guess not. Going once? Going twice? I guess not. If you're a cop, if you're an undercover, we're not doing anything. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Maria?
They've been on our meetings before.
Echoing your, these are great ideas. Just want to support us in moving in that direction, or checking in about any other ideas or comments or thoughts in the space. So we can, we have about a month to plan that webinar too. What are folks thinking? Or are there any questions? And from Hamid and Chela, any needs or suggestions for next steps?
Well, I'll be in touch with Monique from DWAC. For those that don't know, DWAC is Downtown Women's Action Coalition. It's another part of LA Can. It's made up of women and quote unquote service providers in Skid Row seeking to uplift the voices of women and empower them in the decisions that affect, women on the streets of Skid Row. So yeah. So the two new folks, Mark and I forgot the other person's name. What do y'all feel like? What are y'all feeling hearing all this stuff? I know a lot of this stuff is new to y'all. I want to hear from y'all.
Chris and Mark, yeah.
Y'all.
Or
Uh, I guess
Yeah,
I'm just catching up with a lot of names. There are a few that I'm just looking up, like even just like Roomba, and so I'm not sure where I would plug in. I mean, it all sounds good to me, so I'm kind of just like, let me know how I can help.
Mhm.
but
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Maria.
Sorry. Like
No,
I
go
said,
ahead.
I'm currently a guest in this space. This is one of my first meetings on gender and sexuality, and kind of learning from y'all, and taking direction from y'all. And whenever I feel like I could find a space where I could like contribute, I'm definitely down. I kind of just just listening to y'all and then seeing where y'all are at. But yeah.
Okay. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for being active listeners. Mariela, to answer your question about what I feel like the next conversation should focus on that because it's a very good. Like I said, I'm gonna reach out to Monique. I sometimes call her Monica out of like tiredness, so I'm gonna reach out to Monique and see would she be down to come to the next meeting. If not, I'll see if she knows anybody else that's willing from DWAC.
sounds good. Thank you for taking that on. One thing I was thinking that's helpful to get organized is if we don't already have your email, it would be great to have folks' emails. That way we can connect in between meetings and share materials that we're naming. If any readings or posts come our way related to the laws that we were talking about earlier, or this upcoming webinar. Yeah, it'd be great. I don't know if I just wanted to check in. I'm not sure if we have everyone's emails, but I heard you, Mark Anthony, and C mention you're willing and open to support in any way and participate. So that's great. Thank you. And if it feels okay to put the emails in the chat, that's one way we could stay connected. Anything else for the following webinar?
Maybe a little early for that, but we are going to be going to start mapping and taking a deeper dive into the information sharing and the sort of the next stage of the Department of Children and Family Services, the DCFS stuff. But that if something is percolating by that point, we can I can let you all know. But I think that would also be something, if not this one, but maybe the following webinar would be a good piece to bring up, because that's about mapping out the stalker state in in the context of these public sector agencies. So just wanted to kind of throw that on the radar as well.
And you said it's a little further away. When are we gonna start looking at that?
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now? Okay. This was I was speaking about remember the report that we released last September on the Department of Children and Family Services and the surveillance apparatus. So this is now the next stage of that where which would then include also, just mapping out the different ways that how information moves, and how it makes, particularly this is a public sector agency, which is supposed to be a safety net, but what are the points of vulnerability for families especially, and children, in seeking support from the state, but then they get criminalized. So that is something that's what I was proposing, that if it's not sort of there yet, started out before this webinar, maybe the following webinar in August, we could probably just bring that up as well. Just throwing ideas.
Yeah.
And when would we start looking at that?
We're gonna just see, there's some things still got to figure out. So probably be another couple weeks, Chella, before there's a better sense of the direction. So maybe if it's ready to go, maybe we can make a space for a few minutes on this webinar and then do a more detailed thing in August. But I'll definitely keep you and Mariela posted on that.
Okay.
That's great. Thank you. And I want to also put something else in related. This is about the children who are detained and children who are being held right now in Long Beach, close to us. And I've been, there's a coalition shape. There's already a coalition out there for immigrant rights, but there's other folks also coming together and connecting to that coalition, to see what we can do around the children who are being detained. And I definitely see that to our gender and sexuality group, and to reproductive rights, and just the ongoing of children and the foster care system and that. So I want to plug that in or connect that with our work and see how we can offer the DCFS report that we've done and some of that work to that coalition that's shaping. Because of course that foster care system is part of what's tied in to the children who are held right now, detained right now. Yeah, that's another one. It's a big one, but I just also want to map it out there with our work.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely want to get involved in that, and support that as much as I can. Yeah, definitely. Keep us in the loop. Is there any like actions planned or any? Yeah.
Oops, sorry. I keep getting calls. My niece is trying to reach me. There is sometime in May. There's a proposed date of May 16th. It's a Sunday. It'll be a weekend. We're trying to find a date that'll be good for a lot of folks. This month, so soon, like in a couple weeks. It'd be great to share with us and have coalition presence. And I am invited to a meeting tomorrow, and Yoali's calling me. But yeah, tomorrow, 7 p.m., there will be a meeting in preparation through Zoom. I'm gonna attend. Yes, I'm happy to keep us in the loop, and also if there's any other questions or thoughts on this, or if you want to bring other related topics to the space as we are doing that right now, it's good. It's welcome.
We just got someone new joining. 2 people new. Do y'all want to introduce yourselves, your name, your pronoun, and what brought you here tonight? You're still muted, Fernando.
Okay. Felicia, my name is Felicia.
Oh, I'm sorry. It says Fernando.
Yeah, yeah, it's under my husband's name. Well,
Okay.
I've been in the meeting for a while. I'm pronounced as she.
Okay. And what brings you here tonight?
I just interested about I've been interested about the meeting for a while. So
Okay. Well, welcome, Felicia.
thank you, Chela.
Okay, and Jamie, do you want to introduce yourself? Going once. Can't believe I have to do this to you. Going twice. Okay, Jamie. Yeah, I think it's important to get back
I'm
to the
so
conversation.
sorry, Chella. I was trying to text Hamid or someone through the chat, but it went to Hamid, so I don't think he's watching the chat right now, or I don't know if he's on the call, but because it's not open up to the group. I'm sorry, I'm driving right now. I'm just listening here to support. My pronouns are she, they. Thanks, Chella.
Okay. You're welcome, Jamie. I in regards to what you were saying, Mariela, I think it's very important. Please send me the Zoom call if I can make it, because I do have a meeting prior to that with SWAP LA. Oh my God, I'm so busy with these calls. We're gonna be tired of Zoom in the next 4 months. I know some folks already are, but everything is on Zoom. Okay, Mariela, are you free enough to facilitate?
Not too much because Yali wants to get out of the chair and we're trying to figure out our next step, but happy to share that invitation if you want to be in that meeting, or if you're zoomed out, we can share the next meeting, but yes.
Oh no, I mean I'm gonna try. I can try to make it. It's something I wanna try.
Awesome.
Can't promise anything, but I'm gonna try. Oh, so cute. Okay.
Bye bye. Bye bye. See,
Bye bye. Is that Janelle or Yoani?
Yoali. Janelle's sleeping. They're not leaving. We're almost done. We're almost
So yeah, I think our next step is to get Monique for next month and someone else. Baba, do you think Pete White will know a lot about this as well?
Yeah, I'm sure he will too. But in our regular check-ins, Monique has been talking about too. I think because they had done Monique and I can't remember the other person's name, Ashley or Stassi, had done a bunch of surveys, particularly of the women in Skid Row, and they've been pushing the city around what the results showed and the vulnerability factors. So I think as far as the case is concerned, yeah, I guess Pete would is deep in that, but the impact, particularly on through DVAC and on women in Skid Row, my suggestion would be Monique and Ashley or Stassi would be really good to have.
Okay. Sorry, y'all. Okay, I'm a little distracted. Okay, so yeah, I think that I will be in touch with Monique then and see if she can bring in the other person that did it, the surveys with her. That'll be lit. Moving on. I guess this is time to check in. I mean, since Mariela checked in about other groups, can I check in about SWAP, y'all? I don't. Huh?
It's okay. Yeah, feel free, Chella.
Okay, great. So for those that don't know, SWAP LA is Sex Workers Outreach Project. They work building power with sex workers and also trying to decriminalize sex workers. We started doing things with them in the year 2000 and I would say late 18, early 19. And then I kind of dropped the ball and stopped going. And now I'm back, and this time I'm a board member. We are actually having our fundraiser. We have an event because June 3rd, every June 3rd is what's called International Horse Day. It's a day where we uplift and celebrate folks who are in the sex trade consensually. Just want to put that out. They are asking if we have a logo and we want to write something about our coalition to put in the zine, because there's going to be a zine. So yeah, I'm opening it up to the floor. So there's going to be a zine. They want to know if we want to put anything about our work that we do and all that good shit in. Yeah. What do y'all feel? I will also ask this to the rest of the team later.
I take your lead on it, Chela, as since I know you've been there regularly. I'm down, for us to have space in a zine if it's politically aligned and it's mutually supportive. I support that. But you've been there a lot, and so I trust your take on it, especially.
Yeah. Thank you, Mariela. Anyone else? Baba, Jamie, Akil?
Yeah, I gave a thumbs up. So.
Okay. Will you help me craft together like a 2-paragraph thing, Baba?
Sure.
Okay. Jamie, I'm sorry, I said that without asking Jamie. My apologies. Jamie, itchy. I know you're driving.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, Chella. I had tried to send a message to the group, but the chat was disabled. Yeah, like I think I agree in the sense that, the principles and values and that mutual support is really necessary. I just had one question. I know there was some issues around their cooperation with police and working with police at one point. I know that, and I hadn't, we didn't really delve into that. And I know that was one of your hardest issues with that group. Has that come up anymore? Or is that in any way, like with this event, will there be cooperation with police and asking for a permit and that type of thing? Or I'm just curious as to where the group is with that.
Oh, very good question, Jamie. So I want to acknowledge one thing. A lot of the conversation around policing. So for those that don't know, like I said, I started working with this group, volunteer, like going on to the groups, and they specifically were saying some like, fuck the police, but if we can get this from them, fuck the police, but this and that. I'm going to say that those folks who are saying that are no longer there, and the overarching thing is abolition, right? They don't fucks with police. So that's otherwise we would not be doing stuff with them. I myself identify as abolitionist. And so like, yeah. So to answer your question, Jamie, no, police will not be in any way, shape, form a part of this. We don't even believe in teaching police to treat us kindly and gently, it's like, fuck them. So I hope I answered your question. And I hope I was clear. I am a little out of it and it's hot.
I'm glad we checked on that. That's important to me too. I was wondering where this zine would be distributed, and I appreciate about SWAT's work is that they do take materials to folks on the streets. Was wondering if the zine would reach folks, or who will it reach to, so we know what. That'll help.
So it would be June 3rd. It would be by June 3rd. June 3rd is like their deadline of like. So the zine itself is gonna have, it's having submissions from sex workers, stories from all types of sex workers, from folks that are on the streets to folks that do it high class, quote unquote. You can't see my air quotes. And then like in the back, it's gonna have different orgs that are collectives that we partner with. And I didn't even mention us, and we came up, and I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll ask. You know, because they still love us and have a respect for what we do. So yeah, June 3rd is the day where it's going to be released, and yes, there will be ways for folks to get the zines paper wise, because it's also going to be online. Two things, yes. And from what I see so far, it's really cool. It's a real cool zine. Any other questions? Okay, if you have any questions, you can be sure to hit me up with them. I'm always down to answer the questions. I might not answer them quickly because I'm addicted to TV and I watch it, but I'll answer them on the commercials. Coming up next, my other group that I work with, I'm a mess. Cat 911. So folks, I am doing my best to like be a voice for Cat 911 because it's 5 of us, and me, Miguel, who belongs to DSA, but they do live in downtown, and another white woman that lives in downtown are the only downtown members. And I'm the only Black person. So we're gonna start doing some things around recruitment and also coalition building, and that's why I keep coming to y'all. Cat 911 stands for folks that don't know, Community Alternatives to 911. Now they're abolitionists. They started off at YJC's building, Youth Justice Coalition's old building. And through the COVID, they've still been meeting on Zoom. They just formed the downtown version, and I'm a part of it. Even with my limited mobility right now, I'm still going to meetings. So if you want to plug into that as well, hit a girl up. Let's see, what else? That's about it that I have. I think those two groups are really, SWAP's a lot more, has a lot more stuff to do because, has a lot more things that they've done because they've been around longer. Cat 911 is like just beginning in our area. In fact, in the next 2 weeks, I'm actually going away for a few days. And then I'm coming back. And when I come back, I think we're going to go ahead and like do a tabling event outside my building so I could like get the word out. We're looking at teaching women self-defense. We're looking at learning how to use, doing medic training and learning how to use Narcan and all those things so that folks don't need to call 911, which escalates shit. I hope I'm making sense, y'all. How y'all feeling about all this that I'm saying? I'm a mess.
You're great.
Yeah.
Chela. And I'm gonna start driving back home.
Okay.
I'm in a listening mode. Might not have the camera on, but I'm still here.
Okay.
If anyone else has any thoughts on what Chela shared too. I see you, Akil. It's great. Yeah. It all does make sense. Everything you shared us.
Everything
great.
is right on, Chella. Everything is making sense. So
I'm
yeah.
sorry, y'all. I'm just really, it's like hot and I'm on painkillers. So I am just like, I don't know what's making sense and what's not. Okay. Okay, moving on. I will be in touch about that as well. And if you have any questions about Cat 911 or want to get involved, if you're in downtown, hit me up. We have meetings every Monday. It seems like now, I think, which wasn't the truth at first. Now we do.
I'm interested, Chela, too. I'm happy
Okay. Yes. Actually, you would be. I mentioned you. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I mentioned you because you do.
I have no choice to do Cat 911, alternatives to 911.
Huh?
Definitely. I said I have no choice but to. I feel committed to any alternatives to 911 right now.
I also I was talking about how you do the work of holding of like accountability and pretty much transformative justice, right?
Yeah, as a practice, I'm doing a lot of more of that.
Well, like I know a story that you've done. So like, and I named it. Didn't name people's names. Don't worry. But yeah, but I named you, and I was like, has anybody heard it? And nobody did. But like these people were white, so oh well. Yeah. So that'll be good. I think that'll be really. Yeah, I will keep you in the loop. Okay, what else? I should have made some notes for myself, but I haven't. I'm just doing this mentally. Yeah. Any questions? Anybody? I'm gonna give y'all that time while I get off of my bed and sit in my chair. Going once, going twice, no question.
My only question for the group is if anyone has been able to take some for the group. Thank you if you have, and if not, is there anyone who can compile some of these main points too? Because there's been a lot on the agenda tonight.
I'm a horrible facilitator. Akil, have you been taking notes?
I haven't, unfortunately, Joe. I'm sorry.
We are also recording this too for that reason. So.
Okay, Baba. I'm sorry, I just I'm not gonna shame on myself. It's life. Okay. Live and learn, then we get left. Okay.
Amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome, babe. What else? Is there anything else you want us to know, Baba, about anything coming up for the coalition? Police commission next week?
Yeah, well, there's 2 or 3 key pieces coming up.
Thank you. Take it away.
This Thursday morning at 9 o'clock is one of the 7 or 8 meetings that have been going on last week and this week for the city's budget and finance committee, where they're talking about next year's budget for the city. And in that, one of the big thing is that we've been disrupting and intervening around the money that is going to LAPD. So because the mayor announced that LAPD is going to get a cutback, but which is a lie. And in actuality, LAPD is getting about $40+ million increase, and this will be the largest budget ever for them. So there is a meeting, and if folks are interested, we're asking for folks to maybe, if it's possible, if they have time, this morning, Thursday morning at 9 o'clock, to make a public comment at that Budget and Finance Committee. It takes about a minute or 90 seconds sort of a comment. So that is happening. So there's been a lot of folks who have been in that space pushing back on the city council about the additional monies that the cops are getting. So that is happening this Thursday morning. And then following that, we had also put out a call to action earlier about some of these reform proposals that are being which are known as an after action implementation plan. And what is happening is that these reform proposals are now, where after last year's or the continuing uprisings, the city of Los Angeles had commissioned three reports. One was done by the city, which they supposedly independent, which is all bullshit. The other one was commissioned by the police commission, another is supposedly independent, where they paid $350,000 to do this report. And the third report came from the LAPD itself. And all three of them, just all garbage, are, they claim and they acknowledge that about the violence that happened by the cops, which of course is nothing new, but all three of them are proposing more resources, more monies, more staffing. They're also proposing the creation of a special bureau, which would be called a public order policing bureau, which would be very much in the same lines as this bureau had opened after the Watts uprising in the 1960s, which resulted in mass surveillance, where they had infiltrated all the organizations and even the city council members. And when Tom Bradley was the mayor, his office was infiltrated as well. So there's a similar proposal on the table, where they're also, this language they're using is amusing. I mean, it's just, if it wasn't that fucked up, it'll be just really funny that they are in their own language acknowledging infiltrators and undercovers, but they're calling them shadow teams. And they're also calling for special equipment, advanced equipment for counter drone technology, advanced equipment to listen in and to monitor people's social media and everything else, which they were already doing. So we've been mobilizing against that and pushing back, and that is going to the police commission next Tuesday morning on the 11th at 9:30, where it's going to be on the agenda. So those are the things that are happening. One is on Thursday, and I'll put a link, a toolkit, if people want to use that, to call on the 11th at the police commission. So yeah, that's what's happening right now. So I don't know if folks have any questions.
Can you do us a favor and put it all in the chat?
Yeah, I'll put the toolkit in the chat.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
Anyone have any questions for Hamid?
I have a quick moment right now. Thank you for sharing. That's incredible. And also, yeah, I'm so glad we are able to name this and expose it. I want to know if these commission meetings are still on Zoom or in person yet. And then there's some public art I think we should do about it with some of our coalition members. But we just started printing large posters at home, and I think we could do some about the increase, the lie about the cut and the actual increase. I think that's important public art. And that's it. I just got to my mom's house. I'm gonna be getting babies out, but I'm gonna listen as much as I can.
Yeah, they are still on Zoom, Mariela. So that's basically what's going on. And you know, so here I'm gonna post these right now. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mariela, for holding space when you can. And thank you, Baba, Hamid, for for doing that. Yeah, so come if you can, make a public comment. Um, I'll be back, so I'll be doing it. And I'll be back from my little vacation. Let's see, what else?
There's one more update on that, and I know Jamie is driving, so maybe I can maybe fill in. Um, Unless Jamie, you feel up to it, that this next Tuesday's webinar, we switched from the War on Youth to what we do, our general meeting on the third Tuesday, because that's when folks were available. So we're gonna be circling back to talk about the status of where COVID is. So we'll have Professor Bita Amani and their crew and Jamie, where folks will be talking about giving us updates as to what's the current situation, what are the different things that are going on. You know, this issue around immunity passports, and all of these things where there's been conversations about people bringing in their vaccination cards, things like that. And then also what kind of information sharing, what kind of information gathering, the surveillance that is going on, the massive contracts that Palantir has, which is a data processing company, with Health and Human Services, but they also have huge contracts with the Department of Defense and various other agencies just in relationship to COVID. So which means that the information sharing and the stalker state is expanding tremendously. So that's definitely invite folks to next Tuesday's webinar, and appreciate you know, just the War on Youth folks accommodating that and switching their webinar to the third Tuesday. So this will be next Tuesday evening at this time on May 11th.
So May 11th at 6 o'clock.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Okay. I will be here. Any questions for Hamid? Anyone? Don't be shy. Any questions going once, going twice? So, okay, we have a new person in the room. I'm just, you know, me. So I want to know who you is. Nico, tell us your name, which I just said, your pronoun, and what brings you here tonight. Sorry about the chirping, that's my alarm. They're not fixed yet. Nico, going once, going twice. All y'all ghosts. Oh my God, so many ghosts in this room. Okay, I think I think we're wrapping it up soon, and I want to transition to thinking about, well, number one, it's obvious what's been going on with, like, you know, right after the verdict, a young girl was murdered by the state, young Black girl. I don't know her name, so I just want to hold that in our bodies and our hearts right now. But since this is a gender and sexuality group, I also want to bring to mind our trans siblings who have been murdered this week. Yeah, the first one's name is I have their names. Give me 10 seconds. I'm gonna say their names or just have a moment of silence for them. I think that's the best way to do it. So a trans woman in the Bay named Natalia Lopez. The news broke the 24th. So Natalia, we'll give her a moment of silence for a second. And another trans woman, Black trans woman was murdered. I can't do this without crying. Her name was Ciara Banks. Let's give a moment of silence for her. Okay. Are y'all still there? Hello?
Yes.
Sorry about that. Byron was calling me, y'all. Byron was calling me on my phone. Shoot. And the last one, I didn't get the name, but it's what to say, Goddess, and she was stabbed in Boston. So Goddess that was stabbed in Boston. We'll have a moment of silence for her as well. Ashe. And to all the fallen family members that we have lost, that we don't know, let's give space to them and remember that this is the work that they've set before us. They're now our ancestors, our queer sisters, and our trans sisters. Okay. Breathe in, breathe out. Thank you for let me do that time. It sucks that these names keep getting larger and larger, but we also keep getting more powerful and more powerful. Okay, I think we're done. We all have our jobs that we said we would do. I'm gonna do mine. Probably not tonight, but yeah, if you can show up next week to the police commission, if you call in, if you can show up next week to the meeting, the general meeting, which will be at 6 again. I usually go to all these meetings. It's the bigger, larger one where we talk about, it's a lot more filled, so you'll hear about all the things we've been doing, as well as what Hamid just said. There's usually a good topic every month. And yeah, keep an eye out for each other. I know we can't scream it, but let's do a shada, y'all. Let's do a sada. So what I say, we all repeat. I'm going to say it and give y'all a second to repeat it. You can unmute your mics. Are we ready?
Shall I real quickly before you do that? So we just got messaged by Kim and they They're saying that a friend invited them and excited to be part of the gender and sexuality component. Do you want to share contact so they can follow up on this, or?
Yeah, sure. Are they still here?
Yeah, they're here.
Yeah,
Oh,
hi.
Hi,
I
Kim.
didn't want to interrupt your agenda. I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Kim. I am from Echo Park in Central LA area, and I am here to be useful in any way I can. Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us. Yeah.
Thank you,
And
Kim.
what did you say?
Oh, I was just saying thank you. Kim's my friend. I invited them to the group. And yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, we're just about to close out with the Assad Chant, which is, we're gonna only do one because we ain't, but it's something to live by, and I just want to do it. And then on a powerful note, and just remember all our, political prisoners, which is everybody, but just remember them in your heart. Okay, it is our duty to fight for freedom.
It is our duty.
It is our duty to fight for freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love and support one another.
We must love
And
and
Support.
support one another.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose
to
but
lose
our
our
chains.
Yes, yo, Wally. I hear the little one.
Bringing in
Thank
joy.
y'all. Thank you, Mariela, for trying to facilitate and having 2 lives to carry. Or 3, because you're carrying yourself. Thank you, Bob, for helping me. Thank you, everyone that came. I hope to see everyone next week.
Thank you. Thank you, Shanna. Thank you, Shanna. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You gotta
You're
thank you,
welcome,
son.
yo, Wally. Thank you, Wally.
Thank you, Shanna. Thank you, Shanna.
Oh my God, so cute. Okay, adios, everybody. Have a good night. Take care of
Have a
yourself
good
and drink
night.
water.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Drink water, everybody.
Bye. Bye.
Bye, yo, Wally.
Bye. Love you all. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Take care.
You hear how
Bubble.
it's a bubble? Yeah. Oh, much love. Good to see you.
You too. I'm sorry. I was still okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.
Say-
See y'all later.
Bye. Bubbles. Bubbles to close.